Hello there, sword friends. This is a sword log vlog blog type thingy. I have made this much progress on all the other reviews. It's been a bit of a crazy week, but I do have an interesting topic to share, and that is something that, frankly, I've given as buying advice to a lot of prospective buyers. A lot of people ask me, I don't know about a lot, but some people ask me, what sword should I buy? What's the best of this and that? And almost resoundingly, my answer is typically, if you can have cash on hand and wait for the right sword, you can really, really get lucky. And that happened to just me very recently. Now, there's a lot of swords in a lot of various markets. I'll tell you that I look on Facebook. There's Facebook pages on all swords, Sword Buyer's Guide, forum link thing on Facebook. There's a bunch of groups constantly popping up. Stay Bladed, Completely Katana, swords, buy, sell, trade, something. There's a lot of different Facebook kind of groups that I monitor, and then there's the Facebook Marketplace. That's one place. There's also the Sword Buyer's Guide forum, Sword Forum International, My Armory, and eBay, and Craigslist that I all take a look at pretty frequently. And recently, I'm looking over here because I have a sword to show you, and I will in just a moment. Recently, I was able to acquire, I think, what might be the deal of my lifetime. So this is the sword in question. And for you to know, first off, this is a Rick Barrett sword. It was made approximately 20 years ago. That's the information I can find from Rick, but may have been mounted, somewhere around 4 or 5 years ago. Looks like there are silver Fuchikashira, Minuki, and Suba from Fred Lohman. The Seppa and Habaki were made by Josiah Boomershine, though I don't know how well my camera's going to show it. I'll probably do a review on this later. The Habaki is really good, much better than you typically see on my projects. Now, note that this was not a project I did. I bought this completed sword as you see it here. I didn't put the Sageo on, I didn't design it, but man, somebody sure thought of stuff. It's got a dragon theme, a horn Makugi that's this kind of black. The space here is oftentimes a bamboo peg, but this one is made out of horn. It's got white Samegawa that is of a pretty reasonable quality, silver all the way around. The diamonds, I'm not personally super enthused about. The knot and just kind of how they look aren't quite perfect to my eyes, but honestly, it's very serviceable leather. The leather looks a little bit thick, but what do I know? I do like the shape. It does concern me a little bit in terms of durability, but how everything lines up, the transitions, all very good. It's got Samegawa for the first 2/3 of the blade. Things seem to be made in minor details that I'm observing here. Like 2/3 of the saya appear to be Samegawa. The Japanese artistry tends to like to do things in uneven numbers, or thirds is appropriate. The blade itself, though, is a Rick Barrett Tamahagane blade, a Shinogi Zakuri, recently polished by Chris Osborne. Now, I recently have not had the best luck getting things finished from Chris, but I cannot dispute the man's talent as a polisher. He's a very good polisher in terms of his workmanship, especially for what he charges. Now, Rick called this Tamahagane. When I asked him about it, he said it was made from kind of reclaimed or Japanese blades that were unfixed. I don't exactly know, but he said it was made from other Japanese katanas and iron sand, and that he made the steel. Whether or not you constitute that as Orishigane, as I understand it, can be made out of nails and spoons and not necessarily other swords. So I don't know that Orishigane necessarily fits, but this sword is absolutely stunning. The way it feels, the way it balances, how it came out, the saya, everything about it is really great. The Suba, or not the Suba, the blade, the Seppa, Habaki are all really top notch. The rest of the stuff is cast and maybe not to the same level as the blade Habaki and Seppa, which are little scallop Habaki and frankly very, very nice. I will try to do a review on this later because there are some details in the blade in terms of the hata and how it came out. It's also a laminated blade. Rick did not recall whether it was Honsen Mai or Kobusei, if I'm saying those names right, but the lamination type he did. But either way, it's a laminated, folded blade made by Rick Barrett, a very respected American smith, with a habaki and seppa by Josiah Boomershine, and a mount done by Fred Lohman Company and whoever he subcontracts with. It is amazing feeling. And the important thing I want to note is that I saw this on eBay for like $2,500. It was a little bit more than $2,500, but not much. But I got on eBay for $2,500. And you could have too, frankly. Anyone watching this, if they had cash in hand and were looking at the knife, sword, blade, stuff, and looked up Rick Barrett, it wasn't some obscure listing with really shitty photos or improperly listed or put in the wrong category or anything really obscuring it from the masses. It was listed as a Rick Barrett Tamahagane, yada yada yada, with very reasonable photos and a description that didn't outline all the details I've just mentioned. I've done a little bit more research into it, but at the same time, it really told you pretty much at face value what it was. And so for $2,500, if you had cash in hand and were looking about a week ago or 2 weeks ago, you could have had the same blade. To me, that's a deal of a lifetime to me personally. But the point is, it's recent, and so a lot of the advice that I've given has been wait for the right blade to pop up, be looking, keep your eye on the market, have cash in hand, be willing to make a compelling offer, and you can really find some truly amazing deals out there. This is an example. Now, I'm not sure if I'm going to sell it. This is pretty far from my size, honestly. It's small, but it has just about every aspect of a sword that I like. I'm not, I'm a little more partial to swirly Mitsudomes, but at the same time, it has just about everything else that I really like. The mount is custom. It's got an example of basically, there's a ton of aspects of craftsmanship on here that I really think are hit on pretty well. And the Rick Barrett blade is a folded blade. It's a rare. He doesn't do a lot of seguha or kind of the straight hamon without a lot of ripples in it. So it's an example of Rick Barrett kind of looking outside the box, doing a steel and a lamination pattern that he doesn't, that I haven't seen in a lot of his other blades. Whether or not he did it a lot, I don't know. But if this is what he did 20 years ago, and frankly, it's really impressive. So it should be an interesting note to see kind of how his modern blades evolved. But the point is, well, that's really pretty far from the point. Suffice to say, I think it's fucking amazing. And it furthers my point that there are some really amazing deals that come up every now and again, and you just have to have your money on hand. Now, for some of you, you said it's a struggle to save money, or you kind of want something right now, and I can't fix that for you, right? If you can't save, you can't. I don't know. I'm sweating. Sorry. I don't know exactly what to tell you. It's like 90 degrees in Minnesota. I have thick northern blood, and yeah, that's not what I was talking about, though. The thing I'm talking about is if you can save some money to get your budget in cash, kind of right up front, and then wait for the right blade. There are some very compelling, awesome custom blades that come up. But realistically, there have been very few blades like this. I've seen a handful of them go across, and many that I regret not buying. There was one even maybe fancier than this that was made by Walter Sorrells. It was a folded Tamahagane. I don't know about Tamahagane, but it was like a folded fancy blade that went for like $1,000. I missed that, and I regretted not buying it. I didn't know what it was at the time, but it sold. It sold for like $1,000 with an antique Edo period Tanto and 2 antique Edo period Tsuba, and the Walter Sorrells folded katana in Shirasaya with Habaki for like $1,000. And I'm still kicking myself that I missed it. There was another Walter Sorrells blade that was a Hirazukuri blade in a full awesome custom mount for like $2,000. I also regret not buying that one. Anyway, suffice to say, there's a myriad of blades that I regret not personally buying because I wasn't following my own advice. I didn't have cash in hand, and I wasn't basically ready to flop it down and make it happen right now. And that's a very compelling offer for many sellers. A lot of people that think, I could use money for X, Y, or Z. What do I have that I could sell that's worth a little bit of money? I have this custom sword that I don't use. Well, what can I get for it? It's appraised at $10,000, but what can I get? You might be able to offer $2,000, $3,000, $5,000 for something like that. It depends on the buyer. And frankly, you may very frequently offer $2,000 on a $10,000 sword and get slapped and say, no, absolutely not. But I just got this sword for $2,500 or thereabouts. It was a little bit more than that, but especially if you count all the shipping and da 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 da. But basically $2,500. So my point to you is that's a very worthwhile thing. If you're asking what sword should I buy, oftentimes the secondhand market can get you a better piece than what you would have gotten otherwise. It wouldn't be crazy to think, hey, I have a $400 budget. $2,500 is all well and good. I'm glad you got a fancy sword for $2,500, but I could never fucking pay $2,500 for a sword. Still, if you were thinking of like, hey, my budget's $400, $500, what could I get for that? Well, chances are you might be able to find some pretty compelling, awesome things. I've sold some customized modern production swords for $500 when they didn't move. There's a lot of people selling a lot of cool stuff. The point is, wait for the right thing, have your money ready, and look and make an offer to swords that you really think are compelling. But the secondhand market, absolutely no question, can get you more for your money value-wise than simply buying new or making a project new. Now, that's not to discourage people from going down that path. If you want to make your own unique individual piece, then there's really not another way than going down the custom path. If you need something right fucking now, there's not a lot of other options at buying what's available right fucking now. But if you have some time and you're looking for the right piece, you're looking for, an heirloom quality piece to appreciate, that's tough as nails but also has some artistic properties, this is the fucking holy grail of that, right? It's made by Rick Barrett. It's made out of some awesome stuff. He knows what the hell he's doing. It's going to be an awesome tough sword in a fully custom mount. And something like this could have been had. I mean, this sword, no doubt, the polish on it probably cost more than $1,000. The mount from Fred Lohman probably cost $2,000. The sword itself, I don't know how many hours Rick Barrett put into it, but it wouldn't be unrealistic to say Rick would charge, I don't know, $10,000 or something like that just for the blade itself unpolished. At least I'm speculating here. I don't know. I haven't really asked him about price, but it takes a truly enormous amount of time to make one of these things, especially if you're like smelting iron sand and reclaimed blades to make the steel. So something like this to me is really the deal of a lifetime. But I think it really hits home the point that if you look on the market and you wait for your opportunity, you can probably surprise yourself in terms of what you can get. Again, it's for a limited group, but at the same time, I think it's worthy advice, and I know that patience is a commodity in short supply, and I know that sometimes people are really picky if you're in a martial art that specifies the size that you need and yada yada yada. That limits the choices that are out there. But frankly, from the limited experience I have in talking to people that actually buy swords, there's a ton of people out there that are just looking for something cool. They need a blade in the range of 25 inches to 55 inches. They need something in the color spectrum visible by humans. They want something durable, made out of whatever steel the smith works with, but it has to be able to be used for its intended purposes. And this really wide range of criteria. And if you fit that bill, then maybe patience is a virtue you should try and invest in. And maybe having a little bit of savings bank so that you can make a compelling offer to a seller trying to get rid of their stuff is something you should wait for. And sure, you're going to be competing with me and other people, but this deal was listed for a few days or probably more than that before I saw it. And I contacted the person selling it and I made an offer and it worked out. But anyone could have gotten this before me. This was not something that was listed and 2 minutes later was gone. It's not something that was listed at $50,000 and that I made an offer for $5,000 on and was willing to, try the game of 99 slaps. It's something that any one of you folks viewing this video could have jumped on. And if I ever sell it, there's absolutely no fucking way that I'll sell it for $2,500. So this one's off the table in terms of that kind of price point. But the point I'm driving at is that the deals are out there, and so I think it's worth taking a look. Now, if you've ever gotten the deal of a lifetime, I would really love to know what it was. Throw it down in the thingy thing, the comment section below. If you have any deals that frankly you, like myself, have missed out on, and kick yourself. about, let me know. It's been more than Japanese swords for me too. There's been a few Japanese swords, but I've been lusting after an Albion Sovereign for a long time, and that sword has come up secondhand a few times, and I've missed it. In fact, the same sword with like a scabbard has come up for like under $1,000, and I've missed it a few times. I've also, oh my God, what was the other sword? There was a Christian Fletcher border watch that was for sale, and it was like $1,000 with a scabbard, and man, I should have jumped on it. I was like one of the first people to ask about it, and I just didn't have the balls to go through with it. So there are a lot of swords that I regret. But if you have any, I would love to know what missed opportunities, what's the one that got away for you. Anyway, that's all I have for you. I hope you've enjoyed my rambling. As always, cheers, and thanks for watching.